Well, sports fans, it is that time of year where football is coming to a conclusion with the state playoffs taking place between 6A, clear down to 1A, and 8-man football. So it's been an interesting season. We've made it through the COVID aspect, which I know all the fans and the participants are very happy about that. So we will start in with our predictions, starting with 6A. You have Blue Valley North and Derby. Derby's really come on. Compared to what they kind of looked like in the beginning of the season. I think they've hit their stride. I have no doubts that they'll be state champs again.
6A isn't what it has been in the past. Those teams up in Johnson County aren't as strong as they have been, and like you said, Derby's hitting their stride, so I'm going to go with the Panthers as well.
Next, we got Mill Valley and Northwest. This could be probably the most competitive
It's going to be
state
physical,
game.
very physical.
Mill Valley's a good team. Northwest, obviously, they took some heat over the schedule they played because it was only City League, and you missed two of the Catholic schools weren't in it. But there was some. East was good. Heights wasn't bad. West wasn't bad. But they ended up taking it to Bishop Carroll, who had a really strong schedule.
They were good.
And were good, and they ended up taking it to them. So I think this year might be Northwest's year. I'm hoping it is for the coach out there and those kids. Read the article in the paper the other day that they were assuming that their senior year was gone and everything else, and now being able to compete for a state championship, it's very heartwarming, and I really hope they pull it off this year.
I'm pulling strong for the Grizzlies. This Mill Valley team's really good. They took out Derby like 45-6 earlier in the season. That says a lot, so that shows how good they are. Northwest, never going to pick against my alma mater. Shout out to Captain Moore. Her grandson plays there, Jeremiah Moore.
Yeah.
And he's a stud.
He's been playing well.
He has.
Grandma's proud.
Very proud. I text her during the games. But aside from Jeremiah, they have some real athletes. I think they have about 6 kids going D1. And I'm really hoping this is their year, and I hope Coach Martin gets it.
Next up, we have Ark City and St. James, and this is unbelievable. I don't think I've ever seen this in the several years I've been watching high school football, where a team comes in and 2-6, I think they were before the playoffs, pull off some upsets, and then the one over McPherson was a huge upset, and are playing for the state championship. So maybe they hit their stride at the right time. I know I've been picking against them during this time frame just because of their record, and every time they proved me wrong. St. James pulled off an upset. Thank goodness we don't have Bishop Miege in there for the 5th, 6th, 7th, 10th year, whatever it was, playing for the state championship. So very glad to see somebody else in there. I think St. James is going to be too strong. Coming from that area up there as a 4A, there's some really good teams up there that they play between 5A and 4A. I think they're going to be too strong, but if Ark City pulls the upset, I'll be very happy with that.
I saw on the news what you were talking about, how Ark City turned it on down the stretch. That's pretty awesome. Like you said, St. James, they play a tough schedule. They play games out of class, and because of that, because of their schedule, and I'm going to go with them.
We have a rematch from last year's state championship of Perry, Lecompton, and Andale. No one's really come close to Andale this year. They have a really strong running game, a really strong defense, and those are two combinations that can win you state championships. And I think Andale's just going to be way too strong for Perry Lecompton this year, and I think they'll pick up their 2nd in a row state championship.
I don't think I've picked against Andale in like 3 years, and I'm not going to start now. I think Andale's going to get this one.
Next up in 2A, we got Roswell and Hoisington. Hoisington's been on a roll.
Yes.
Including last year. I'm pretty sure they won state last year, so they're another team that I've read up on them a little bit. They play really strong defense. They run the ball really well. I just think they're going to be too strong for Roswell, and they'll pick up their 2nd state championship.
I didn't know a lot about these teams going in, so I did read up on them too. They're both undefeated. I know Hoisington beat a really good Garden Plain team last week, so I'm definitely stick with Hoisington on this one.
So next we got college football, Iowa State and Texas. Not saying too much because K-State looked like they were Nebraska last week in that game.
Minus the national championships, Heisman trophies, and outlet trophies.
But Iowa State did look good.
They did.
And I know they're playing at Texas, but that, of course, the running back, Brees Hall, is an excellent running back. But their quarterback has really turned it on this year. He's looking really good. I think they're going to be too much for Texas. I think Iowa State takes it to them.
I could see Texas pulling the upset in this one because, like I said, they are loaded with talent. It's in Austin, but I'm going to go with Iowa State. And again, Brees Hall, I'm a little disappointed in K-State because they're so bad. Brees didn't get to play the full game. He only played a half a game, so he only got 135 and 2 touchdowns. I predicted 203 touchdowns, but hopefully, maybe
You
Casey.
predicted him to score 203 touchdowns?
200 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
didn't articulate
Okay.
that well.
Yeah, I'd have taken you up on that bet.
But I think Brees is going to have another great game, and the Cyclones will win.
Next up is Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State has been roughed up here lately. They got the holy heck beat out of them in the OU game. But they are at home. They are playing Texas Tech. I'm taking Oklahoma State.
I think Oklahoma State was kind of a facade. K-State showed that they were competitive with them. OU blew them out of the water, but Texas Tech is really bad, so I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
Next up is Kansas State and Baylor, and I don't have to say how disappointed I was in last week's game. I know, we had a bunch of people out with
Excuses.
COVID, but they should have been able to put together a better game than that with the folks that they did have playing, and they just didn't show up. So I'm hoping this week they get, especially their defenders that were out, they'll be back. Baylor, I don't think, has won a game all year, so they're like KU. And I'm hoping K-State can bounce back here and win this game.
K-State fans are a little like youth soccer parents. It's COVID, it's the refs, it's the field, any excuse there is. Both these teams are terrible. Baylor was at least competitive with Iowa State, whereas Kansas State looked like Friends JV playing them. So I'm going to go with the Baylor Bears, Dave Aranda, because K-State's really bad. Really bad.
Next up is Oklahoma and West Virginia. Actually, I think this is going to be a pretty good game. West Virginia plays well at home. I was almost picking West Virginia. But OU kind of, the way they came out and handled Oklahoma State, they look like they're back in their offensive manner that we're used to. Defensively, still kind of the same, but I'm taking OU in this game.
OU's the pride and joy of the Big 12. Unfortunately, the national people see that they're kind of a joke, so they won't be in the playoffs this year, thank goodness. I mean, it's good for the SEC if they get in there. I mean, it's an easy first win. But that being said, they are better than West Virginia. It will be tough in Morgantown, but I will take the Sooners.
Okay.
They're also not very good.
Take TCU and Kansas. My time's coming, folks, here in just a minute.
That's why I'm
so.
getting a few extras in.
TCU and Kansas. It's at Kansas. I really hope Kansas wins a game. This might be the one that they could. I don't see it, so I'm taking TCU, but I really hope Kansas can win a game this year.
If there was one Kansas could maybe win, this is it. But I'm with you. I'm going with the Horned Frogs.
You want to take the last game?
Yeah. I was getting bullied via text message during this game by multiple sheriff's office employees, to which my feelings were somewhat hurt. But rest assured, I returned fire in the K-State game. But Nebraska was terrible last week. They took a step back. Still got confidence in them. Frost is going to give them where they need to be. Iowa's a team, like a lot of teams, they like to think they're on Nebraska's par, but again, they don't have the cachet, the trophies, the Heismans, the Outlands, the academic All-Americans. But I am loyal, and I won't pick against my Huskers, and they will win this Friday. Maybe.
So, well, first off, as we always point out, Jim lives in the past. He's right. Nebraska is absolutely horrible. I think probably if you pick some of the bottom-ranked teams in the United States, Nebraska would be right there in that particular ranking. They are Scott Frost. He's the savior, starting to waver a little bit in some of the things that I've looked at. And there's some people that are getting pretty upset at Scott Frost because, of course, a lot of these folks are his recruits at this point. And even though, a legend like Bill Snyder that left K-State.
That's funny.
He is a legend.
In Manhattan, Kansas.
The new coach that came in, he still got him wins last year. And so, in fact, I think they made a bowl last year under him.
Yeah, they lost.
Yeah, that's better than what Nebraska did because they didn't even make a bowl. How many wins they have last year? One?
They had a top 20 recruiting class.
Oh, you always have something to come back with. It never seems to hash out the next year, and you tell us to wait for
It's coming.
the coming year.
It's
so,
coming.
So I am absolutely taking Iowa. I think that Nebraska fans, you're in for a long year again. And and you would have been if you would have stepped up and actually played football like the rest of the major conferences did in the beginning instead of being way far behind. So it'd be interesting, but I think Iowa wins. So what are you doing for Thanksgiving?
We're having some family over and all that stuff. The day after Thanksgiving, I'm watching Nebraska because they're a national draw, so they play on Fridays. But we're gonna have a good family thing, get family together and have some.
So you're making some banana bread, pumpernickel bread. What is it you're making for Thanksgiving?
Pumpernickel bread is my specialty that you
Is
bring
it?
up. Absolutely.
Yeah. So there you go.
What are your plans?
Oh, I'm having pumpernickel bread all day long.
Jordan, are you having pumpernickel bread?
So anyway, we will decide if we'll continue on with the college football picks, since they are not coinciding really with high school this year, and let us know if that's something that you'd want to see. And I hope you've enjoyed this season again. I know we have.
Absolutely.
And even though we razz each other a lot about the teams that we like, it's very nice to see sports again.
Absolutely.
Because this summer was not a lot of fun for folks that enjoy sports. And so I even actually watched the Nebraska game, was excited to watch it. There's a kid from Bishop Carroll that is a starting linebacker for him, and he does a great job. So I'm a little bit leaning towards Nebraska just because of that one kid.
And you were a lot of commentary during that game, so I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You and Colonel Pollock and Laura, you really kept me up to speed on that
Yeah,
game, even though I was
you did.
watching. So I thank you for your insights.
So with that, I hope your team is participating in state. There's 3 of them here locally. Hopefully all 3 bring home the state championship, and everybody have a happy Thanksgiving and a safe Thanksgiving. And one last thing that I will tell you is, we've had a lot of people sick here with COVID. We've had employees that have lost some loved ones. I personally lost a loved one Friday, and the funeral was Monday to COVID. I understand the politics behind all of what people are saying, but I don't think it's too much to ask folks to wear a mask when you're out in the public and those type of things. One of the main things is we got to try to reduce the amount of deaths that are taking place, but also keep our businesses open. We cannot afford to have our businesses close again. So I know that's a little bit of a commentary, but please wear your masks. It's not that hard to do when you're out in the public. So thank you and have a great holiday weekend.